and welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekki Freeport. The top stories at this hour. Defense headquarters confirms arrest of Chinese national for allegedly aiding terrorism. Opposition party slam President Tinubu's Democracy Day address. Strikes Iran nuclear sites and military leadership as Middle East braces for retaliation. Details to come your way shortly. We begin with security matters. The Defense Headquarters has confirmed the arrest of a Chinese national during a counter-terrorism operation in Borno State. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kangye, made the confirmation on behalf of the Military High Command on Friday. Major General Kangye, however, did not disclose the identity of the foreigner, but said the individual, who claimed to be a minor, is currently in military's custody and undergoing interrogation. The arrest of the Chinese national came less than a week after the military announced the arrest of 4 Pakistani allegedly involved in training terrorists in the northeast. Now, one chance, a street term for armed robbery within the confines of a public transport vehicle, has over the years wreaked havoc on residents in the heart of Nigeria's capital. The unsuspecting victims, mostly women, are picked up by what appears to be normal taxis or buses and even private vehicles, only to be violently robbed, in some cases brutalized or killed. But what is more disturbing are emerging allegations of police officers turning a blind eye or working hand in hand with these criminals. The Central's correspondent Aisha Salihu meets with victims, now survivors, and police authorities to uncover the trauma and steps taken to protect lives and property in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The Federal Capital Territory, known for its order and structure, is reportedly now the hotspot of several notorious criminal syndicates that have left residents afraid to take public transportation. These criminals, called one-chance operators, pose as cab drivers preying on unsuspecting passengers, often at night and in broad daylight, leaving their victims traumatized.
Immediately I entered the car. They wind up and told me, "We are kidnappers." He was beating me just at the backside of my rib, like from my rib, from my neck parts all the way down to my waist.
Nwamaka, her first name for confidentiality purposes, is still visibly shaken and is yet to step out of her home since the incident. She is part of unavailable statistics of underreported cases. Grace, also her first name, is another victim who is still worried over the burden of repaying the huge sum of money borrowed from the bank loan application on her mobile device during the incident. She believes the very officers meant to protect residents may be colluding with the criminals.
Your PIN. And when he said your PIN, I knew, hey, wahala, don't come. And he cleared all the money in the whole account. And this car was getting to checking points where there are police, because I was hearing the officer and they say, carry on. When they get to checking point, one of them will come and say, go settle down, go settle down. Just be hearing them. We have a station here. And when I got there, the police were like, Madam, they were so reluctant about the case, maybe because they were not going to get money from it. I don't know.
The FCT Police Command admits over the years the menace of one-chance operators in the FCT was alarming, but with strategies put in place, there has been reduction of incidents of one-chance operations in the FCT.
There is no police officer that will be inhuman to extort a victim of one chance. I disagree with that allegation that our policemen the stop and search were not searching properly. We became very aggressive with the stop and search during the period of this one chance menace.
As allegations of collusion and corruption within the police at stop and search checkpoints have been denied, security experts maintain a change in strategy is urgently needed and call on residents to be more vigilant.
There are people that you can be able to use to capture and to handle or to monitor these criminal groups. For instance, if you are a bus stop, Berger is a major bus stop, the central bus stop in Abuja, and you have the national union being mandated that if there's any issue of one chance within this environment, people will be held responsible. You realize that there will always be a check and balance.
Register all the vehicles in the FCT. You must install monitors. That is to have cameras that will have an advanced knowledge and supervision and overview of the movement.
The trauma does not end with the theft and abduction. Experts say many victims suffer lasting psychological damage.
PSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, puts you on the edge, put anxiety in you, put stress in you, and makes you feel uncomfortable each time you remember what has happened.
While experts say that one-chance robbery may be on the increase, they add that many of the cases remain unreported. The FCT Police Command is, however, urging victims and the public to share information on suspected one-chance syndicate activities or police misconduct with the Police Complaints Response Unit to help tackle this crime. Citizens are also urged to avoid taking laws into their hands.
By addressing the root causes, enhancing public awareness, and ensuring accountability within the police force and residents alike, Abuja can work fully towards reclaiming its safety and security. In the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Away from security matters, we tell you that opposition leaders and parties in Nigeria are sharply criticizing President Bola Tinubu's Democracy Day address, accusing his administration of undermining the country's democratic foundations and failing to deliver good governance. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party's Peter Obi, the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party itself have all issued strong reactions following the President's remarks at the joint session of the National Assembly in Abuja on Thursday. Atiku accused the President of ruling through what he described as conquest rather than democratic governance. Peter Obi echoed similar concerns, saying democracy in Nigeria has been in decline since President Tinubu assumed office 2 years ago. The PDP, in its statement, alleged that the ruling All Progressives Congress is fueling internal divisions within opposition parties to weaken democratic competition. Meanwhile, at the new Nigeria Youth Summit 2025, Labour Party Acting National Chairman Senator Nnamdi Usman called for what she described as a more authentic and people-centered democratic process in the country. To react to this, we are joined by a former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Diran Odeyemi. You're welcome, sir. Can you please unmute your device?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I was the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary, not the Publicity Secretary.
Okay, that is noted, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the news. We also have Labour Party Chairman in Oyo State, Tunji Sadiq. Thank you so much, Mr. Sadiq, for coming around. Can you please unmute? Kindly unmute your device, Mr. Sadiq. Okay, yes, we can hear you now. So I'll start with Mr. Odeyemi. How would you react to the statement of the president seemingly mocking opposition parties enduring internal crisis?
Unfortunate that the president chose the day to mock the opposition. Underrated or is not an understatement to say they have a specific role to play in any democratic setting. And the statement made by the president that, that state or a government is still
Mr. Adeyemi, we seem to be having issues with your network. Apologies for that. Maybe something we may need to work with. Maybe you can re-log in so that we can hear you properly and see you too. But then in the meantime, I talked to Mr. Sadiq. Let me also get your feel as regards the president's democracy speech and, of course, the talks around parties, opposition parties, going through internal crisis.
Well, thank you so much. For me, I don't think there is anything special about what the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said concerning the opposition. He is right to say it shouldn't be in his purview to help the opposition to gather together or get their ass together. It's like politics is like a war, and it beholds the people on one side to ensure that the force is well planned. Their people are together. It's not for the opposing person to help them arrange their houses. So he has not said anything wrong. He's just talking what politics is all about. I can tell you, he has paid his due for what he knows doing best, which is politics. All of us are here in this country when he started all alone as the only opposition governor in 2003, and he was deliberate about his plan. He started moving, gathering people together to ensure that there is a viable and vibrant opposition that eventually became the ruling party today. For us, at the opposing side, it is left for us to put our house together. He's not going to do it for us. The only challenge is, since yesterday was the day marking Democracy Day, I want to think it was a mismatch of timing to be deriding the opposition party the way it was done. But aside from that, the president has spoken nothing but the truth. He will not come and help us in Labour Party to put our house in order. We are the ones to do what we need to ensure that we are well placed in competing for our position in the next election.
Okay, so, Mr. Adeyemi, I want to believe that you're there now. Okay, we can see you now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. We'd like to take your summation as regards the president's speech. I mean, one would think that the #1 man having to deliver a democracy speech would not toe the line of saying that he's in the place of pleasure, seeing that opposition parties are in disarray.
I don't think it's a good comment coming from the president. It's not complementary to democracy, simply because the role of opposition in any democratic setting is very vital and key to good governance. I agree there are some elements of truth in what the president said, but I would have loved it if he had allowed the party chairman or the party organ, to say this, not coming from the president, who is the father of the nation, taking a time as the political party. I don't succumb to that. And I want to believe that that very statement of expressing happiness that the crisis is not the political party is an indication that in one way or the other, as a politician, he has hands in all the crisis, has been accused by all these political parties. Even though in Labour Party, he can be the creator of their crisis. But in PDP, what he did is just to assist in putting forward into the already created crisis by the party themselves.
But then one would say that there are no evidences to prove that either him or his party actually have a hand or are mastermind in the divisions that we've seen in the opposition party.
We are politicians. The more you do, the less you see. Politics is about it's not mathematics, where 2 and 2 plus 2 equals 4. We know the hand is that of Esau and the voice is that of Jacob. So we know what operates, we know what goes on. If you go through, let me give you an example. If PDP went to court over the issue of the petition, right? At the end of the day, the court did not declare an outright decision or judgment. What they did is just to place the center, thereby creating more crisis. And you want to believe that though the judiciary is the special act of defense, but you cannot exonerate the link between all these organs, especially with Tinubu, the master brigade at the end of here. You see, during the time, we know how many riots and how many protests that were out there.
Okay, I talked to Mr. Sadiq now. Now, I mean, really, the turbulence in the opposition parties is none of the president's business, so to speak. It's part of the things that you said. But then how did these parties also allow so-called saboteurs infiltrate their ranks? You're part of the Labour Party.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Please come again.
So I said, just as you had said earlier, that the turbulence in the opposition parties has nothing to do with the president. But then I'm asking, how did the Labour Party, the PDP, other opposition parties even allowed so-called saboteurs to infiltrate their ranks?
Exactly. That's my words. When you are in the game like this, it's like a football match. As you are attacking, you are also defending. It's left for the party to ensure that your attack is strong and you are not letting your defense to be so weak for someone to penetrate. So if someone, like the opposition player now, would like to score, definitely will play all the tactics to ensure that your defense is weakened. So if the other party, the ruling party, is doing that to the opposition party, it's within their core. It's left for us, especially in Labour Party, to ensure that we have a formidable system strategy to preclude incursion into our system. While also we find a way to ensure that we are marching forward to attack the ruling party. So, as much as we say this, we can't completely rule out that the ruling party has a hand, one way or the other, in what is going on. Like Mr. Derode said, politics is not mathematics, where 2 + 2 is equal to 4. But whatever happened, whether the ruling party has an interest in the opposition or not, it is the responsibility of the opposition to guard their position very, very well and ensure that that incursion or such incursion does not impact on the activity of the opposition party.
So that would have meant that the factionalism of the Labour Party could have been avoided.
I agree totally with you. More of it is self-inflicted, if I must tell you, because if people are saying APC have a hand in it, we can't rule it out completely. But is it APC that told us that we should not agree to have a common front? Why are we having the leadership of the party on one side and people that contested under the platform of the party on the other side? Nobody told them to go and do that. It's an internal mechanism that we have to sit back and call out.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Atunji Sadiq, and of course, Adirode Emi, for sharing their thoughts on the news with us. Thank you. We go on our short break now. We still have more stories to come your way anyway. Do stay with us. In there, we tell you that stakeholders are once again calling for the return of the option A4 election management system, widely praised for its transparency during Nigeria's 1993 presidential election. The call came during the Democracy Day lecture in Abuja, where participants urged the federal government to honor the late Humphrey Nwosu, the former chairman of Nigeria's Electoral Commission, and the brain behind the option A4 system. The Central's Joshua Marai was at the event and brings us more on the calls for electoral reforms from Abuja.
The first annual National Association of Political Correspondent Lecture Series brought veterans and political actors together under the same roof, united by a shared history. With the theme, The Legacy of Option A4 and the June 12 election, the forum reflected on experiences of stakeholders during the process and examined the significance of what many still consider Nigeria's freest and fairest election. Former Director of Public Affairs of the defunct National Electoral Commission, Anthony Heredia, criticized the media's alleged passive role in electoral reporting, warning that it enables the manipulation of results.
The media tend to think that they can only announce declaration of winners, which is wrong. And it is one of the reasons why people are able to rig, because we wait to announce declaration of winners. We have a duty to announce declaration of results at each spot.
Heredia also cautioned against political defections, saying that votes belong to political parties and not individual candidates.
What I'm saying is that the Nigerian Constitution recognizes that it is political parties who win elections. And if political parties are the owners of votes, the candidates cannot take those votes away. So when somebody defects from one party to the other and is going away with the votes of the previous party to a new one, what he's doing is certainly not correct. And whatever we must do as a nation to stop it is important.
Many in attendance called for the readoption of the June 12 Option A4 election management system, with speakers saying that it will restore transparency and public trust in Nigeria's electoral process.
And what was Option A4 about? If you cast your vote, it will be counted and announced there and then. The results are announced and the question of manipulation does not arise.
But it's also very important for people not to believe that any voting system is a magic bullet, because it's more like you cannot elevate the institutional manifestations of a phenomenon to its defining characteristic. The problem is not necessarily our election. The problem of our election is a reflection of a more fundamental problem, which is basically the anarchic way of our competition.
As the history of June 12 continues to shape conversations around Nigeria's democratic engagement, the renewed call to immortalize the late chair of the nation's electoral body, Humphrey Nwosu, is once again placed on the front border. Many here say that renaming the headquarters of Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission in his honor will serve as a symbolic gesture to recognize his role in delivering the nation's most credible election. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
A coalition of political actors under the African Democratic Congress converged on Lagos for a strategic meeting focused on building alliances and promoting credible leadership in Nigeria. The event brought together stakeholders from across party lines under the theme Convergence of Political Partners, Strengthening Alliance for a Better Nigeria. The Central's Wesanyo has the details.
The African Democratic Congress, ADC, says the time has come for realignment among political forces committed to a better Nigeria.
We have a faulty selection system in Nigeria.
At its convergence meeting in Lagos, party leaders, supporters, and coalition members discussed ways to foster unity, equal rights, and credible leadership across all levels of governance.
This is a convergence of the partners, political partners, in the formation of a coalition to become a credible alternative and an effective opposition with the intention of forming a future government of Nigeria in the next election.
We are here as aspirants from former political parties to come and express ourselves in a party that is more democratic.
The group also encouraged Nigerians, particularly young people, to register and vote in large numbers in upcoming elections, saying participation is key to national transformation.
We have to create a strategy that works. Lagos State has the lowest turnout rate in Nigerian politics.
We can actually bring good candidates forward that will actually help the Nigerian masses to have good representation in the House of Assembly or House of Representatives or the Senate.
Speakers at the event emphasized the importance of electoral reforms, describing them as essential to building trust and ensuring free and fair elections in Nigeria.
It is the party that is sending you an errand to do something for Nigerians. It is not your interest. But if you put your interest above the interest of Nigerians, then we will remove you.
Nigerian problem is leadership. And what we are trying to do is to get a formidable leadership, a competent, efficient leader. The only thing you can get through coalition is putting the right peg in the right hole.
As Nigeria inches closer to another critical election cycle, the ADC says it is committed to building bridges that promote justice, accountability, and inclusive governance. In Lagos, for News Central, Sewesi Anyo.
Still on politics, former governor of Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu, says he has no intention of dumping his party, the People's Democratic Party, for any other. He says he believes the challenges bedeviling his party contributed to the exit of many in recent times. Ikpeazu, who recently hosted aides who worked in his administration across all party lines, says he will continue to provide guidance and leadership to those who look up to him. Some of the aides say their former principal did all he could with available resources, affirming that he could not have done everything.
I'm not in contemplation about where to go for now. Politics, at a time that this is in a state of flux, we are still trying to rebuild the PDP. The PDP has passed through very, very difficult times. But I dare say that some of us are prepared to rally courage, muster effort and energy.
Coming up on the news, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa visits flood sites as death toll rises to 78. We'll tell you more in a short while. Do stay with us. We now take you to the southern part of Africa to tell you that South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has visited the sites of devastating floods that have left at least 78 people dead in the southeast of the country. Ramaphosa's visit comes amid criticism of authorities' early response to the disaster, which was caused by an extreme weather front that brought heavy rain, strong winds, and even snow to parts of the province. Forecasters warned about the extreme weather last week. Meanwhile, Gift of the Givers is actively assisting flood victims in the Eastern Cape, South Africa, particularly in the Amatole and OR Tambo district municipalities. They have deployed emergency teams and are providing essential relief items like food, water, hygiene packs, and blankets to displaced individuals and families. Now, joining us to discuss this is founder, Gift of the Givers, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman. Dr. Suleiman, thank you so much for coming around.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Now, kindly provide us with an overview of the extent of the devastation caused by the recent floods in Eastern Cape.
It's been very, very extensive. The Kai River has expanded. Infrastructure at Butterworth and in Umtata, two big areas, have been badly damaged. Roads have been washed away. Houses have been washed away. Infrastructure in terms of water plants, water treatment plants, all damaged. Electricity knocked out. No water in entire blocks of cities in Butterworth and in Umtata. Hospitals can't function, both because of no electricity and no water. And tragically, we've lost 78 people. It seems we found few more bodies today, so that count is going to rise way above 80. The other tragic incident is that a bus carrying school children got washed away. The engine switched off on the bridge, and the whole Kumbi just got washed away with the children. I don't think we've found any of those children yet. I've got teams, search and recovery teams. I've brought my own teams in. They found 9 bodies, but there's those children that are missing are not part of that count. We think they washed away somewhere further down the river, and that would require a separate search. People are without food. Over 10,000 people have been displaced. It's probably one of the worst floods we've ever had in the Eastern Cape in decades.
Well, that's quite sad and telling on the victims and families affected by the flood. But then, Dr. Suleiman, how is the Gift of the Givers helping with relief efforts?
Gift of the Givers is unofficially South Africa's government's response to disasters. Unofficially, we have official response. Disaster management calls us, premiers call us, the different ministers call us, mayors call us. In this case, when the warning came out, a level 6 warning that floods or rain will come in a day or two, already the Premier, the MEC, heads of disaster management in the Eastern Cape province called us. They always call us. We're always on standby to assist them. And of course, when it happened, we were immediately on site, both in Butterworth and in Amtata. For the first step, we helped them move people from their homes or from low-lying areas to high-lying areas into halls. Once you put them inside there, of course, they need blankets, mattresses, bottled water, hot meals, and hygiene packs, diapers, sanitary pads. That's commonly what we do. So that we did, and we provide hot meals daily, and all these other items we give them all the time. But in this case, it needed an additional response because people were missing. So we brought in a rescue team. It wasn't so much of a rescue, it was more of a recovery. And of course, as I said, they mentioned, they found 9 bodies. A second team has come in this evening, but something else also great happened. There were 66 volunteers skilled in water rescue who just pitched up from somewhere, who were willing to help. We're taking care of those 66 volunteers, providing them with water, food, and other support that they require. So they're part of our teams working on the ground. And so this is how it started off. And then the other sad thing, as the bodies were found, the forensic pathology lab where the bodies, the autopsy take place, couldn't be done in a dignified manner because there was no water. So we provided water to the facility, and the first 56 bodies have been identified, autopsy done, and the families can have a decent, dignified funeral. We also brought in water tankers to help deliver water to different parts of both cities. And now we were called to say that the hospital, the main Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital, can't function. No electricity, no water in the reservoir, and the generator is blown. We brought in the water tankers, filled the reservoir, provided bottled water for the patients and the doctors, and tomorrow we bring in a 12.5 kVA generator and another 10 small generators, all coming overnight to assist for the hospital and other clinics in the area. So that's our intervention right now. If more support is required, we'll step it up.
Well, we actually hope that the President's presence at the affected sites will actually help ramp up relief efforts for those affected by the floods. But then thank you so much, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, for sharing these updates with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Outside of Africa, Israel has declared a state of emergency after launching Operation Rising Lion, a major overnight assault targeting Iran's nuclear sites and top military commanders, including Revolutionary Guard Chief Hussein Salami. In response, Iran fired over 100 drones towards Israel, with the IDF working to intercept the threat. Iranian state media reported that residential areas in Tehran were hit, with civilians, including children, among the casualties, though these claims remain unverified. Meanwhile, the Israeli army spokesperson confirmed that senior members of the Iranian regime's security leadership were killed in a strike and that more than 100 targets across Iran were attacked. Well, to discuss this, we're joined by a global affairs analyst, Alexander von Rugen. Thank you so much, Alexander, for joining us to discuss this.
My pleasure.
Now, U.S. President Donald Trump a while ago was on X saying Iran could have averted a strike if it had committed to a deal. Is that bullying or diplomacy?
Maybe a little bit of both. The fact is Iran was creating a red line, which they say they're not going to cross. They're not going to dismantle their centrifuges. They're not going to stop enriching uranium, and they're not going to deplete their existing enriched uranium stockpiles. Notwithstanding that, they didn't want to talk about discontinuing their missile development program, which America feels is tied in with the nuclear program. Iran says it is not. And that has been the standstill in those negotiations.
Well, Iran had a 90-day deadline to actually decide on what to do. Now, what would you say was the bane of the unconcluded talks? Because we know that there were different scenarios and situations where discussions were held, but a conclusion was not reached.
Well, it's been a negotiation tactic to draw things out over time. I think the catalyst to the attack was the fact that Israeli intelligence had uncovered, or they're declaring they've uncovered a plan of an attack against Israel by Iran. That was declared at the UN by the Israeli ambassador to the UN early this morning. Intelligence gathering in Iran, which is very intense with Israel, they have a lot of assets on the ground, dictated that this was imminent, and it was a case of them striking first. And by the nature of their attack, it was very surgical. They wanted to cut off the head of the snake, meaning the top senior military leaders and the top nuclear physicists involved in the atomic program. And obviously from today's results, they were reasonably successful.
Mm-hmm. Now, a school of thought actually believes that the U.S. and Israel still have nuclear arsenals, a combined 900 to 950 nuclear warheads and launchers. Now, what are the guarantees that Israel and U.S. have actually stopped the nuclear program while forcing Iran to do the same?
Well, they haven't stopped, and it's under a cover of secrecy. They don't disclose the level of cooperation that the U.S. and Israel have in their research. They've never declared that. The fact is, they take a posture of do as I say, not as I do, which is a little intimidating to Iran or any other country. The fact that America wants to be the global policeman, they haven't used nuclear weapons, and they want to thwart the threat of anyone else using them, especially in states that may be unstable in their governance or in their politics. I'm not a judge of that. I just I look at it, and they saw an imminent threat. They have a program, but they weren't the instigator here in terms of the attack. One must also understand, Iran's been in a proxy war with Israel for years. They've financed the Houthis in Yemen, they've financed Hezbollah, they financed Hamas, and they were outspoken in their support of them. So in effect, it's a proxy war, and I guess it's a case of he who is without guilt should cast the first stone.
Well, thank you so much, Alexander von Rogen, for sharing your thoughts with us.
My pleasure, as always.
All right. Away from that, investigators on Friday recovered a black box recorder from the crash site of a London-bound passenger jet that plowed into a residential area of India's Ahmedabad city, killing at least 265 people on board and on the ground. The Air India Boeing 7878 Dreamliner issued a mayday call shortly before it crashed around lunchtime on Thursday after lifting barely 100 meters from the ground. One man on board the plane, which was carrying 242 passengers and crew, miraculously survived Thursday's fiery crash, which left the tailpiece of the aircraft jutting out of the second floor of a hostel for medical staff from a nearby hospital. Let's now go on a short break. When we return, we'll bring you business and sports stories. Stay with us. Lekki Freeport Terminal, the container operator of Nigeria's deepest seaport, is rapidly establishing itself as a key logistics hub in West Africa, recording a 40% year-on-year increase in throughput as it strengthens the country's position in global trade. In its first full year of operations in 2024, the terminal handled 238,000 TEUs, according to CMA Terminals, a subsidiary of global shipping giant CMA CGM. This performance highlights its growing role in reducing trade bottlenecks and enhancing Nigeria's export capacity, long hampered by aging infrastructure and persistent congestion at legacy ports such as Apapa and Tin Can Island. In sports, the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League season will officially kick off on August 22, 2025 and conclude on May 24, 2026. This was revealed by NPFL Board Chairman Benga Elegbeleye during a media briefing at the league's headquarters in Abuja. According to him, the schedule will help clubs prepare adequately for both domestic and continental campaigns. He also assured that the fixtures, broadcast arrangements, and player registration deadlines will be released in the coming weeks, while revealing that the league season winner will receive a prize of 200 million naira, Remo Stars of Ikene and the defending champions after winning a historic first-ever title last season. That's all at this hour, but then we look at our top stories before we go. Defense Headquarters has confirmed the arrest of Chinese national for allegedly aiding terrorism. Opposition parties have slammed President Tinubu's Democracy Day address. We also told you that Israel has struck Iran nuclear sites and military leadership as Middle East braces for retaliation. Or you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Do watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekki Freeport Terminal.